it from a different angle because I know a lot of people is going through trials and tribulations themselves, dealing with this COVID virus, this coronavirus, and the vaccination and all that stuff. And I personally, just my testimony, I actually caught COVID last year. They did some funny stuff at the hospital. I can give my testimony, and we actually got the records approved last year. I showed it on my Facebook Live. When I went and got tested, they told me that I tested positive for the coronavirus. I didn't have no symptoms at all until they put the little nose thing up, up my nose for the sample. They said it came back positive. Well, I don't know if anybody else hospital does this, but at the hospital that I was at, there's a website that has the paper that they give you have a website. And if you click on that website, you can actually go in and find all of your medical records that have ever happened at that hospital. Well, when I go on the website, lo and behold, the website said I tested negative. Meanwhile, the doctor said I tested positive. And I didn't get any symptoms at all until they put that thing up my nose. Now, we can call it coincidence or whatever we want to call it, but that's literally what happened, okay? I got diagnosed a week after my father. My father passed December 29th from corona. The Lord spared me in this whole scenario. I didn't even have to go to the hospital, like get put in the hospital. I thugged it out at the house. I did my research also, find out, ways to get over it the quickest way possible, which was vitamin D, etc. So, all praise to the Most High. But I'm not going to keep going into that. Dealing with today's world, dealing with the vaccination and the COVID, a lot of people are running back and forth, not knowing what to do. And we have forgot, for us to be Bible people, we have forgot the foundation on which we're supposed to be built up as believing we are sons and daughters of the Most High. So what I'm going to do today, I'm going to take it from the perspective of Dr. Hope and the vaccine that our doctor gives us so we can be able to go through this time period that we're living in. The Father did already put it out for us to know how to navigate when things such as we face today come against us. But for some reason, we forgot. We have forgot. So what we're going to do today, we're going to be reminded on how the Father had this laid out. So I'm going to start off. And I know a lot of people might not want to hear this Bible stuff. For us to be Bible followers, we sure ain't speaking no Bible stuff right now. So let's keep it. Let's see what this Dr. Hope has in store for us tonight. I need a reader. It don't matter if it's Mike or Britt, whomever. I just need a reader. And I'm going to start at Psalms 37 and 5. And if we can, please keep it in the King James Version or the New King James Version. And you can start recording, my brother.
Okay. I already started recording.
Okay. That's excellent, Dan. Yeah. So can we go to Psalms 37 and 5 first?
Okay. Commit thy way unto the Lord. Trust also in him, and he shall bring it to pass.
Okay, so commit thy way unto the Lord. Trust in him. And what was the rest of it?
And he shall bring it to pass.
And he shall bring it to pass. So you got to trust in him, right? So now, what I want to do, I want to show an example of trusting the Lord. All right? I want to go to Genesis 6, read 13 and 14 and 22.
And God said unto Noah, the end of all flesh is come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them, and behold, I will destroy them with the earth. Make thee an ark of gopher wood, rooms shalt thou make in the ark, and shalt pitch it within and without the pitch. Thus did Noah.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
You wanted me to do 22, right, as well?
Yes, sir.
Thus did Noah according to all that God commanded him, so did he.
All right, can you read Genesis 7 and 1?
And the Lord said unto Noah, Come thou and all thy house into the ark, for thee have I seen righteous before me in this generation.
So Noah lived in a generation where violence was all on the earth. And the Most High spoke to Noah. He was going to do a work in which he had never done ever before. And he commanded Noah, and Noah trusted in the Lord. It said he did what the Lord commanded of him. Noah trusted in the Lord, did the things that the Lord asked him to do. Therefore, Noah received salvation from a judgment that seemed to inflict the entire world. Let me say that again. Noah received a command from the Lord. Well, we know it's from the Word. Noah could have taken it upon himself to not believe the words of the Word. He could have done that. He had the option to not believe. The same option that Adam had, but we'll go through that in a second. But Noah had that same option. According to Genesis, how Noah wrote it, that whole landmass, that whole world to them that they knew was inflicted. It had an infection. It had a deadly disease. It had a virus of death, of violence, of unrighteousness. It was affecting and afflicting everyone that it came in contact with. But Noah, trusting in the Word, doing the things that the Word asked of him or commanded of him, and it caused Noah to be something separate from the rest of the world, and Noah got salvation. This is that trust that we have lost. We have forgotten about trusting in the Lord. But we have right now an example on how trusting in the Lord through all adversities can lead to salvation. So that's one example. Now, can we get Proverbs 3, 5 through 6 read? Proverbs 3, 5 through 6. And the way that we do this, we go through all of the verses first. We go through all of the verses, and then once we're done with all of the verses and the commentary or the breakdown, then we have a dialogue. We allow people to come up and dialogue. But what I have noticed in other rooms, people come up too fast, throw off the message. Now they done deviated left and right, and the original message that the person who created the room is lost in the thought. So what we do here, we get it all out first, and then we dialogue. So that's what we're doing. We're getting the whole statement out. We're getting the whole matter heard first, and then we allow people to come up for the dialogue if they stay in. So that's what we're doing. So can we get Proverbs 3, 5 through 6 read?
Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean lean not unto thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths.
So you got to trust in the Lord with all thine heart. That's your mind. And lean not to your own understanding. You got to acknowledge him. You got to trust in him. So now, can you read Genesis 15, starting verse 3 through 6?
And Abram said, Behold, to me thou hast given no seed, and lo, one born in my house is mine heir. And behold, the word of the Lord came unto him, saying, This shall not be thine heir, but he that shall come forth from out of thine own bowels shall be thine heir. And he brought him forth abroad, and said, Look now toward heaven, and tell the stars, if thou be able to number them. And he said unto him, So shall thy seed be. And he believed in the Lord, and he counted it to him for righteousness.
Right there. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not to thine own understanding. Abram had an understanding on how inheritance works. Abram did not have a son to be the inheritor of his things, of his belongings, of the things that he had to offer to bring down to the world, so his name could continue. He had a servant in his house. That's his own understanding. Lord, I don't have an offspring. I have someone that could be considered a offspring like a substitute, in which can be the inheritor of my belongings. I have that, but I don't have my own. But the Lord told him, even at an older age, he was at an old age already, and then he had to wait even longer. But the Lord told him, he's not going to be your heir. I got you an heir coming, and that heir is going to produce children that numbers is like the stars in the sky. And it said Abram, who had every reason to doubt the word, every reason. This whole time, you haven't blessed me with a child. This whole time, my wife has been barren. This whole time. And now you're telling me that at her old age, at my old age, through all of the scientific developments that we have at our time, through all of the praying that we have done, none of the prayers have been answered at this point in time, that now you're promising me I'm going to have a child. And it said Abram didn't give no excuse. He didn't do the but, this and that. It said he believed him. And just because he believed him, that was counted toward the righteousness that everybody was supposed to get later on according to the New Testament. But that was righteousness, him trusting in the word. That's all he needed to do, was trust in him. You are in a situation that you don't want to be in, Abram. I understand. But trust me, and I will deliver you. I will give you what you want, what you desire, if you just trust me. And Abram did. And that trust right there, from one man that uprooted him started questioning things, who started to believe. Hold on, give me 1 second. Okay. One man who was questioning things, who started to believe, and he heard the Lord speak to him. He believed on that Lord, and that alone was enough to give him his desires and keep him safe. That alone, that trust alone. So now, I would like to continue. Can we go to Proverbs 28 and 26?
All right. He that trusteth in his own heart is a fool, but whoso walketh wisely, he shall be delivered.
If you lean to your own understanding, if you trust in your own self, in your own knowledge, your own wisdom, you are a fool. Can you read Genesis 3, 4 through 6 for me?
And the serpent said unto the woman, Ye shall not surely die, for God doth know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil.
Is that, was that 4 through 6? Genesis 3, 4 through
6? Yes, sir. Yeah, it was. Genesis 3,
okay,
4 to 6. Yeah.
I'm sorry, my phone was breaking up.
No, I didn't read 6. I'm sorry. And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise, she took the fruit thereof and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat.
See, a lot of people, when they read this story, they don't understand what's being said. You usually have somebody break it down. They're talking about fruit being eaten. They don't know how the ancient Israelites wrote. They haven't grasped that ancient Eastern literature yet. Moses is explaining something. Meanwhile, it's going over most people's heads in the 21st century because they're concentrating on fruit. A literal tree with literal fruit. But notice how Moses explained the tree. It was pleasant to the eye. It was desired to make one wise. And she partook of it. And the husband partook of it. Why? It was a desire to make one wise. And then you have Solomon, who prayed to be the wisest person on the planet at that time. Solomon, who knows these old stories. Solomon tells the same story, but he says it a different way. Same point of the story, a different way. Lean not to your own understanding. Anybody who thinks themselves wise is a fool. They looked on the tree because they desired to be wise. What kind of wisdom? Would it be wisdom of the Most High? Or would it be a wisdom that dealt more with self? Something dealing more with person instead of heavenly. Person, of course. That tree was designed to make one wise. It wasn't going to make the Most High wise. It wasn't going to make the Word wise. But it was going to make Adam and Eve wise. And we know what resulted in that. Death came. Death followed. Separation. 17:37.
Say that again. 1 Samuel what?
1 Samuel 17:37.
All right. David said, moreover, the Lord that delivered me out of the paw of the lion and out of the paw of the bear, he will deliver me out of the hand of the Philistine. And Saul said unto David, go, and the Lord be with thee.
Can you hear me? Am I still picking up?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, can you read it one more time, my brother? You was breaking up on my end.
All right. David said, moreover, the Lord that delivered me out of the paw of the lion and out of the paw of the bear, he will deliver me out of the hand of the Philistine. And Saul said unto David, go, and the Lord be with thee.
David, I've been delivered from the lion. I've been delivered from the bear. I will be delivered from this Philistine soldier. David said, I have been delivered by the Lord one time. I should have died. I've been delivered 2 times. I should have died. So why would I not believe that I'm going to be delivered again? He did not know he was going to be delivered at face value, but spiritual wise, he knew he was going to be delivered. And when I said face value, I mean using man-made common sense. Because he don't know. It could have went anyway. But that trust in the Lord, and he looked at the things that he had already been through in his earlier life, when he went through the earlier trials, when he should have died time and time again. He said, the Lord brought me through that and that, so of course he's going to bring me through this also. He had already proved to me time and time again, he has my back. So why now, when things seem a little difficult, will I believe anything else? The Lord has already showed me he got my back. Why am I going to believe something else? Why am I going to deviate? Why do I need another answer when I have already received the answer time and time again? That's what we got going on right there. So now, can you go to Isaiah 12:2?
Behold, God is my salvation. I will trust and not be afraid. For the Lord Jehovah is my strength and my song. He also is become my salvation.
Trust. I would trust. We see it. It's throughout scriptures. I would trust. The Lord will be my salvation. I would trust. He will see me through. I will trust. It doesn't matter what's going on in the world. I will trust. That's what it says. So now, I'm going to even show it from a different narrative. And my brother Mike, he actually inspired this one right here. So we're gonna hit Daniel 3 first. Can you read Daniel 3:16 through 18?
Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered and said to the king, O Nebuchadnezzar, we are not careful to answer thee in this matter. If it be so, our God whom we serve is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us out of thine hand, O king. But if not, be it known unto thee, O king, that we will not serve thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up.
Now that's a dangerous breakdown right there that needs its own lesson by itself on YouTube. They are looking at death. And notice, they said, we will not betray the word and his father. We will not bow down to your image. We will not, even if it means death. And you know what? We have faith that the Lord will deliver us. But this is the fire part. But even if he don't deliver us, we still won't transgress him. Notice how fire that is. Even if we don't get the quick fix that we yearn for, that we need in order for us to have a particular type of salvation, even if it don't come through, I still will trust in the word. I still will not transgress. So even if the Lord don't answer our prayers, I still have enough sense to know that he's still there and his will is going to be done. And I'm okay if he chooses me to be destroyed, go through this type of destruction, because I'm doing it believing and trusting in him. So if he comes through for me, that's fantastic. But if he don't come through like I want him to, it's because I know who I serve. I know this isn't the end. I know nothing happens without his say-so. So I would not transgress the one that can destroy my soul. I would not lose faith so I can live a little bit longer. I would not go against the grain of the Most High if it defies my salvation and trust in him. All right, can you read Daniel 3? Can you read 21 and then 24 through 26? And I'm almost done, y'all.
Then these men were bound in their coats, their hosen, and in their hats, and their other garments, and were cast into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Then Nebuchadnezzar the king was astonished, and rose up in haste, and spake and said unto his counselors, Did we not cast 3 men bound into the midst of the fire? They answered and said unto the king, True, O king. He answered and said, Lo, I see 4 men loose, walking in the midst of the fire, and they have no hurt, and the form of the 4th is like the Son of God.
So first of all, Nebuchadnezzar even knew about the Son of God. He knew about the Son of Man. Nebuchadnezzar, the Babylonian, the Chaldean, even he knew about the Son. We let it be known that this wasn't just an Israelite understanding. Even he knew what was going on. But besides that, they were delivered. Understand, he let them get thrown in the fire. He didn't save them from being thrown in the fire, but he saved them to trust in him. So they have that faith and they get thrown in the fire. Just imagine what they are thinking as they feel the heat when they are approaching the fire. Imagine how much was going through their mind, but they are staying strong to their faith. They didn't say, oh, we changed our mind. They accepted that their life, their livelihood was in that of the word. So they got thrown in the fire, but they got saved while being in the fire. They trusted and they got delivered. So now, can you read Daniel 6:16?
Then the king commanded, and they brought Daniel and cast him into the den of lions. Now the king spake and said unto Daniel, Thy God whom thou servest continually, he will deliver thee.
So now the king has faith. The king has something going on. He cannot transgress the commandments of his country. He cannot transgress his own word. So when he was put to trial, and he had to go through it, he had faith in the God of Daniel to deliver Daniel. So now even the king is trusting in the God of Daniel. The king is trusting in him that you will survive this event, this tragic event. You will survive it because your God is stronger than this event. This trial that you're going to get put in right here, your God is a deliverer of trials. I believe it, Daniel. So now, can you read verses 19 through 22?
Then the king arose very early in the morning, and went in haste unto the den of lions. And when he came to the den, he cried with a lamentable voice unto Daniel. And the king spake and said to Daniel, O Daniel, servant of the living God, is thy God, whom thou servest continually, able to deliver thee from the lions? Then said Daniel unto the king, O king, live forever. My God hath sent his angel, and hath shut the lion's mouth, that they have not hurt me. For as much as before him innocency was found in me, and also before thee, O king, have I done no hurt.
Daniel said, I was innocent. My God spared me. He knew that I was in here for no reason. He knew this trial and tribulation that I was going through, it wasn't justified by my actions, but I had to go through them anyway. Did he save me from the men that threw me in here? No. Did he make the men change their mind before throwing me in the den? No. Did he change the king's heart and say, hey, this one time, I'm going to go away from the rules of the country because I like Daniel. Daniel's cool. So we're not going to throw him in there. We know that y'all trying to get me with a catch-22. That's why he's in a predicament right now. No. He wasn't saved from being delivered into the trial. But he was saved from the trial or while in the trial. He's in there and he received salvation. And notice how the king, because we know the Father never wanted, or the Word made sure that he nor the Father wanted to be blasphemed of the Gentile. And this was a perfect opportunity. You have a Gentile king right there saying, was your God able to save you? The God that you worship continually. the God that I know about, the God that I said was ever going to spare you, that God that you hold to the highest extent, was that God able to deliver you? And the answer was yes. The trust in the Lord brought forth Daniel's salvation. So now can you read 2 Corinthians 1, 8 through 10?
For we would not, brethren, have you ignorant of our trouble which came to us in Asia, that we were pressed out of measure above strength, insomuch that we despaired even life. But we had the sentence of death in ourselves, that we should not trust in ourselves, but in God which raiseth the dead, who delivered us from so great a death, and doth deliver, in whom we trust, that he will yet deliver us.
We know that we fall short. We have been falling short. But we trust in the Lord through mind, body, soul. We trust in the Lord through trials and tribulation. We trust in the Lord even if we have seen it happen or we haven't seen it happen. We trust in the Lord that he will deliver us from any modes and means of death we need to be delivered from. He will deliver us. He will not leave us. We have a comforter. We got to understand this. This is what some of the stories in the Bible is explaining to us through the lives of these individuals. We are going through hardship. They went through hardship. But they knew where their power was. They knew who to rely on. Why don't we? Why come I see more people talking about this and that, and ain't nobody talking about trusting the Lord? Lean not to your own understanding. Do you have faith that you can be delivered from such a disease, such a tragedy? Do you have that faith? Nobody is talking about trusting in the Lord. I ain't heard it. I hear a whole lot of people running around scared out of their minds about some element, an invisible element, and they have forgotten our cornerstone. They left it. So now, can we go to Psalm 146? I want to read, get you to read, and I think I'm going to end it. I end it with this one. I got a few more, but I'm going to make a YouTube video of it. So I end it with this one. Can you go to Psalm 146, read 3 through 5, and I'm going to do my correlating verses, and then we can open up the dialogue.
Put not your trust in princes, nor in the Son of Man, in whom there is no help. His breath go forth, he returneth to his earth, and in that very day his thoughts perish. Happy is he that hath God, the God of Jacob, for his help, whose hope is in the Lord his God.
I can't be out here trusting. And this is during the time of David. David said, David, a man that was going to get a statue, a man that was going to be in the public figure, a man that was going to be highly esteemed. Trust not in your princes or your rulers and your judges. Because when they die, how can they help you? But when you have that hope and trust in the Lord, then your spirit and your soul and your mind will be free. I know I'm paraphrasing. But then it will be free. Where's your hope? Where's your trust? You're supposed to be happy in the Lord. Are you supposed to be out here trusting the princes, the rulers, the judges. Are you supposed to be trusting them as heavy and as hard as you do? Because when they die, there's nothing else they can do for you. Are you supposed to be trusting that one that never dies? That one that said, trust in me. The ones that said, if you have the faith of a mustard seed, you will be able to move mountains. Was he telling you literally? No. But it's a parabolic understanding of that. There's no limitation what you can do and what the Most High can do for you. Have faith and trust. Okay, can you am I breaking up?
No, you good.
Okay, I'm gonna get you to read two different books and then we'll be done. 1 Corinthians 3:18.
You broke up a little bit there.
Sorry, 1 Corinthians 3:18 through 20.
Okay. Let no man deceive himself. If any man among you seemeth to be wise in this world, let him become a fool, that he may be wise. For the wisdom of this world is foolishness with God. For it is written, He taketh the wise in their own craftiness. And again, the Lord knoweth the thoughts of the wise, that they are in vain.
Those people that consider themselves wise, just like in the garden, looking upon a tree of the knowledge of good and evil, desired to make one wise. Those people, they're foolish. And until they realize that they're foolish, then they will never obtain that wisdom that the Most High has given us through His Son, Christ. They never can obtain that freedom, that peace, that happiness, that joy. Christ said, whosoever believeth on me cannot die. And if he die, he will live. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth on him shall not die, shall not perish, but have eternal or everlasting life. Do you believe it? If you believe it, and if you're a Bible follower, why are you in so much fear? Why are you helping spread fear? Why are you so confused what you're supposed to be doing right now during a pandemic? Why are you confused? What's your trust? What's your faith? Are you listening to the wisdom of man? Do you have the wisdom of your own heart and now you can't find an answer? Because the heavenly wisdom has already given us the answer. Why am I scared of something when I know and I have a God that can deliver me from anything? He parted a sea and let millions of people go through. He made plagues come, and they didn't even touch the ones that he chose for himself. They touched everybody. Once again, he allowed plagues to come. And the plagues did not touch the ones he did not want it to touch. What's your faith? And I'm going to end it with this one, Romans 8:24, and then we'll open up the dialogue.
Say that again, Romans 8.
Romans 8:24, and then we'll open up the dialogue.
All right. For we are saved by hope, but hope that is seen is not hope. For what a man seeth, why doth yet he hope for?
So saved by the hope. We are saved by that hope. Where is your hope? Where's your trust? Where's your faith? So much fear mongering is going on between the sons and daughters of the Most High. He said that you would be like angels. Why are angels worried about a pandemic? Why? When the angels came down, they weren't worried about Sodom and Gomorrah getting hit, whatever what Sodom and Gomorrah had going on. You will be like angels, eternal. You have put on the adoption as sons and daughters of the Most High. You have the same inheritance that Christ had. You died in Christ. You resurrected in Christ. How did we leave the foundation of the Bible and become fearers? I'm done. We can open up the room if anybody want to say anything. Thank you all for listening in. And people, you can let's do the dialogue. Or you can say like when you needed the trust and when your trust didn't been fulfilled and etc. I done been speaking, so now let me let other people speak now.
Hey Elvin, did you hear me earlier? Were you in a room with me earlier today? Did you hear me speak on this topic earlier today?
I went in there, but when I went in there, you wasn't speaking. So go ahead. You was right beside me in the audience. So go ahead.
This was maybe like an hour or two ago.
Oh yeah, no sir, that wasn't me. No.
All right, this is spooky then, because everything that you're talking about and almost all the scripture that you bring up, I literally just gave it to somebody else.
All praises to the Most High. I sure haven't heard you today, my brother.
So
all praise.
The whole time while you giving the lesson, I'm just wondering. I'm like, I can't wait until it's over so then I could ask you that question.
No sir. On my love, no sir. I haven't heard you speak today at all about any of this.
All praises.
Take some of the stuff out that you were saying too, and I would love to hear Tony or Bobby, Brittany, Mr. Bell. I would love to hear y'all.
Yo, I remember it's like October 2018, man. I had a heart attack. I noticed when that was going on, like when it was going on around me, it seemed like everybody was scared I was going to die, but me. I mean, I was kind of scared, but I kind of knew I was going to make it through that. I kind of feel like a lot of scripture you were saying was kind of hitting with me there because I just kind of knew like my number wasn't up. When I was looking at my wife, she was crying. My sister was crying. The doctors were looking all scary and this, that, and the third. But, I made it through that. And everybody was acting like something was, like I was really on the whim. Like even right now, they got me taking like 6 different pills every day. I don't even take the medicine every day, but I mean, they got me on that. But I just feel like, kind of like you were saying, like I feel like even if I do die, I'm still gonna have everlasting life. It's probably gonna be better than this life anyway. I'm not trying to say I'm looking forward to death, but it's just something that I'm not fearful of. But I can remember myself before, I started reading. I mean, really started reading the Bible at all, but not even before I came for Predators, but when I was in the Israelite camps, like even then, before then, I'd be in this certain situation. I was living a certain type of lifestyle where I'm not gonna say death was abundant, but it could happen. Like I know a lot of people that died or got killed, and it was like I was way more scared of dying then than after I started actually reading the word and actually believing that as long as I did the right thing, that I would live, and if I did die, I would either go to a better life or live forever. So I mean, a lot of the scriptures she was hitting there was touching me, reminding me of that particular experience. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, I'm only 40.
Go ahead.
By the way, I'm only 43, right now. So that I must have been like, I can't remember what I think I'm like 40 or 39 then. You know what I mean? And even when I went into the place to get the stent in my heart, everybody was like, "You look too young. You're too young for this to be happening." And da-da-da-da-da. But it just felt like I felt like that situation was testing me there alone. Like it was testing me. Like, okay, is he gonna believe or not? I mean, I feel like my past, but everybody around me was scared to death.
All praises, and y'all, I met him about 2 months ago. I think it was like 2 months back, like last month, 2 months ago. But he's not a big guy. I mean, he's not like a fat fella at all. He's real tall, sort of muscular. So he don't look like he's in bad shape to the visual eye. So, and then, like you said, he was young, but yeah. Thank you for your testimony.
So I got one that's incredible for me, and this is when I was younger. Me and my wife was a lot younger, and we made a lot of bad decisions, as you do when you're young. And we were on the street, me and my wife. And I remember I had gotten a lot of my property stolen from me. And I didn't have an ID. I didn't have a social security card. I didn't have a birth certificate. I didn't have any of these things. I just had the clothes on my back. And I'm trying to get into a shelter, right? But I need this ID. They're telling me I need this ID. And they're saying, what you can do is you can apply for a social security card without your ID. And then with that social security card, you'll be able to get your identification faster. So I go to do that. I have like a couple of, I have a couple of dollars that I found on that's another totally incredible event before that, right? So I don't have, like I said, I got a lot of things stolen from me, so I didn't have anything. But I remember waking up in the middle of the night out of nowhere, and I was hungry, and I woke up in the middle of the night, and it's pouring rain. And I'm walking outside, and the wind is blowing so fast, like the wind is blowing so hard, garbage cans are flying in the street. But there is a $20 bill on the ground that's not moving. And it's by a garage, and the garage has a light, and the light is shining down on the $20 bill. So that $20 bill is what I use to get me to the Social Security office and get my Social Security card, right? But the woman, when I get there to the office, she's telling me that I need an address. I'm telling her I'm homeless. I don't have an address. So she said, listen, you need to get a P.O. box. I'm like, I don't have money to get a P.O. box. But she says, go to the post office. If you have maybe like $10 on you, you'll be able to get one. I go to the post office. It's too expensive. I don't have enough money. Some of the money that I used, because I was hungry when I found that $20, I used some of it to buy some food. So I didn't have enough. So at this point, my wife looks at me, and she is stressed. I can see she's stressed. She's about to, she's crying and all that. So I said, we're gonna be all right. Don't worry. Just have faith. That's what I said. I said, just have faith. We'll be all right. God got us. I walk out of there, and I walk a couple of blocks down. Now, even though I'm on the street, we don't look, we have decent clothes on, and it would appear that we're not homeless, right? But a woman walks up to us while we're walking, who we'd never seen before, doesn't know us, doesn't know our situation, but comes up to us and puts $500 in my hand and says, God told me to give this to you. And then from that moment on, that led me to getting the help that I needed to get on my feet and where I'm at today. And I remember telling my wife, and my wife, you know, she's this is her testimony as well. So I told her, just have faith. And that's what led us. And we went out of the post office to go to, I believe it was FedEx or something like that, because they told us maybe it's cheaper there. So I said, all right, let's go there. And as we're walking over there, that's when the woman comes up to me and says, God told me to get this to you, and puts $500 in my hand. This is downtown Manhattan, a Caucasian woman who has, it's something that, like I said, is incredible. That's one of my testimonies.
All praises, all praises, all praises. Hey, let's keep it going. I know some more people got some. Let's keep it going. Let's give our testimonies.
I got too many of them. I got testimony after testimony after testimony after testimony after testimony after testimony. I don't even know where to begin. All right, so boom, here go one. Not as deep as these two brothers at all, but yet still a testimony in itself. So back in the day, no, I definitely am not the boss you know today. Is not the boss that I once were. So I used to do some things. So in the culture in which I lived when I was doing said things, we had this little hangout spot where we used to play video games, whatever, right? And there used to be little kids in there playing video games too. You know what I mean? We would all play Street Fighter, if anybody familiar. So there was some little boy, I don't know. I used to whoop him real bad in the video game or whatever. I used to whoop a lot of people on Street Fighter. Whatever. So he had an older cousin that technically didn't like me anyway, right? That was around my age bracket. So I didn't even know, but he told his cousin something about me or whatever, that I did something or whatever the case may be. He was mad probably because I whooped him with Ken. I used to be fierce with Ken. I used to do my thing. But anyway, that's another story. So I had not known. So a while later, like when I say a while later, I'm talking like possibly close to 2 years later. I'm crossing the street by my house. I had moved to, anybody over here familiar with Orange, New Jersey? No, probably not. But so I had crossed the street and I was, what was that? I think it was Lincoln and Central Avenue. And there's a fire department there, right? And right across the street from some like storefronts. And I lived next to the storefronts. At that time, I had lived next to the storefronts. So I went to go across the street to basically go home. So when I stepped out, it was this car. It was a van that hit the floor and started coming fast. So I'm like, yo, what's wrong with these people? So I backed up onto the sidewalk. So when I backed up to the sidewalk, it swerved towards the sidewalk where I was at, the van. So, my instincts kicked in, boof. I ran straight across the street. I'm like, yo, so he coming, he ain't gonna pin me up against the wall against this fire department. I'm out. So I shot straight across the street. So when I got across the double yellow lines, I'm feeling I'm safe because the last time I looked, he was headed towards the sidewalk in which I was standing on. And, there's nothing going to tell me that he was aiming towards me in particularly. So when I turned around and looked, now it's swerving towards me going across the street. I'm across the yellow line. So by the time I peep, I look right on time. He right there, like at my legs. I like to think that I'm a quick thinker, right? Know what I mean? So I immediately put my hands on the hood and pushed jumped up a little bit, right? So it wouldn't take my legs. Like I was afraid it was just gonna hit my legs, boom, and run over me. So I put my hand on the hood and kind of jumped up, and it hit me, and I met the glass, the windshield, boom. So the windshield projected me into the sky. I'm up like 2 stories. I'm telling you, when I tell you I'm spinning, I looked inside the apartments that's over the little storefronts. I looked into the sky. I looked down the street like I was just like twisting and turning. And I had a hoodie on, and my hood somehow all of a sudden came over my head. And then as I'm coming back down, right, from all of this flipping around and all that in the sky and stuff like that, and my arms reached out. Now I'm not gonna lie, even though I was way too old to be lying like I was. I told everybody I did it. You know, I used to go to karate school, and I learned to do stuff like this. And that was at my younger age. But to be honest, 100% transparency, I don't know what happened. My hands just opened up, and like it felt like something just laid me down on my feet. I promise you guys, I laid right down on the heel of my feet. Boom. And then I just, like, I don't know if you like almost lost your balance and you kind of like your arms just spread it out and you kind of like twirl it a little bit to try to catch your balance. That's all that happened to me. I did that and then I fell on my butt. I wasn't hurt in no form of fashion. Nothing ever hurted me about it. I didn't have a sore pinky. I don't care. Like whatever you want to think, nothing hurted to this day. So you already know who that was, man. I can't take no credit, even though I did try to take credit back then. I said I was a ninja and all that. But to be honest, something opened my arms up and sat me on my feet. And then I kind of I fell on my buttocks. And I didn't even want to go to the hospital. It's like, yo, you need to go to the hospital. I was like, nah, I'm good. Ambulance came, all that stuff. Now I found out what happened. Reason why I told you the precursor to the story with the little boy, because I found out 2 years after that who hit me. And it was the little boy's cousin that never liked me anyway. All over a video game, all this happened to me. But that's a whole another story about it. Know what I mean? The point was the Most High definitely had me in his graces. And that's just one minute time. Boy, I got way worse instances than that. Well, actually not worse, better instances, because the Most High definitely saved my life again. I mean, so I don't know, man. I could go on for days. With stories. Trust me.
All praises to the Most High, and appreciate that testimony, man. It's actually remarkable when that heavenly influence come in and save your life also. Not only help you through like a situation like that, but also save your life with like divine what I'm looking for, interference. So all praises. Anybody else want to add anything else?
No, I gotta jump in again, boy. I gotta tell a story that I normally don't tell people. This is not too many people know this story I'm about to tell. Because I was young and dumb, and I was always afraid to tell the truth. But I guess tonight's the night. So I used to like playing with guns. I mean, literally playing with them, real guns like they were toys, though. I had no respect for guns at all. And I had it was a 38 blue steel, snub nose, pretty little sucker. And I used to always play with it. Load it, unload it, spin the barrel, like do like Russian roulette type stuff with it, because I always had what appeared to me that I had a working understanding of what happens next, and when you cock it back, how many bullets I had, if it was going to skip over a blank space to where a bullet was at. I used to do all that stuff all the time, just playing with it because I thought it was cool. I guess I really can't tell you why, but I used to do that. So one day I was playing with a gun, and I was in the hallway of my building, and there was this little. Well, he's not little anymore. Actually, he's not even alive anymore, but that's a whole nother story. But it was a little young boy, right? The guy that I used to hang out with sometime across the street, across the hall, little brother. So after I was playing with it and cocking it back, pulling the trigger, proving that I understood the functionalities and what happened or what won't happen, I aimed it at him. I cocked it back and aimed it at him, and I was about to pull the trigger. He was like, oh, stop playing, don't do that. I said, man, I know what I'm doing, I got this. And I normally would have just squeezed because I'm always confident, but I didn't squeeze. And I would have did it. So I was like, man, stop being a P, basically. And then I put it to my head. And I normally, because I thought I understood the functionality, I normally would have just squeezed. Because I was always confident of what I knew, but I didn't. I swear I wanted to, but it wouldn't allow me to. So then I said, man, I know what I'm doing. So you look, I don't know. I said something about basically lucky. I ain't gonna do something to him or whatever. But so now when I'm putting it to my side, right, it went off. Now I was about to pull it when I pointed at this little boy. The boy was about 4 or 5 years younger than me, being honest too. Then I was gonna pull the trigger when it was to my head, and I've done it many of times. Trust me, many times I have done it. But when I happened to be like, I don't know what, something wouldn't allow me to when I pointed at him or it to my head. But when I was putting it to my side, it goes off. And I put a hole in me. I shot myself. Fell down, whatever. The same little boy father heard the shot. He came outside, asked me was okay, blah, blah, blah. They called the ambulance. I lied and said somebody tried to rob me to the police when they came. And I didn't remember what they had on. And, the guy, the little boy's father actually took the gun for me and hid it for me. I mean, all this other stuff, right, from way back in the day. But I literally shot myself. So if I would have pulled the trigger, I would have murdered a little boy the first time. Then the second time, if I would have pulled the trigger, I wouldn't be here talking to you. Well, either way, I probably wouldn't have been here talking to you anyway. I mean, but I wouldn't be alive today. But something would not allow me to pull the trigger, neither time. And then the lesson came. The lesson came at the end. And I shot myself in the side. Anybody that's seen my stomach will see that I have a scar down the middle of my stomach. That basically it was reopened though because I've had surgery since there. But the original scar is from that incident. I still have the wound on my right hand side, or whatever the case may be. So I'm telling you right now, I'm supposed to be here. I have to. I had a calling for sure. I had to take care of my nephew. And a lot of stuff that I wound up doing later in life is the reason why I had to live. He kept saving me time after time. And trust me, I got more. I think that's the worst one right there. In my opinion, that one is the worst one, though.
That is off the hook. You wild, man. You wild.
It's all facts, bro. All facts. And I normally would have did it. Like, y'all just don't understand how cocky I was with said things back in the day. And I wouldn't pull it. I've done it many times. I cock back and pat with bullets in there. But I'm calculating. I know what I'm doing. And a shot at people without shooting at them, literally. Like, because I knew it was a blank space. Well, I felt like I knew because right now I can't ever say that I know for sure again, right? But at the time, I felt like I knew, and I've done it. I pull it to my head without thinking. Click. That's it. Because I was so confident. You know what I mean? But it taught me a lesson, though. That day, something would not allow me to pull the trigger. I promise you. I wanted to. I was trying to, so to speak, but it just wouldn't do it. Something was like, nah. And then when it wouldn't allow me, when I was pointing at the little boy, Detrius, sorry, it wouldn't allow me to. Then I put it to my head like, boom, like I'm about to just cut, just to show him I know what I'm talking about. And it didn't allow me to again. And then when I'm putting it to my waist, bow, showed me a lesson. I don't play with that stuff. Not to say that I won't use a gun. I actually have a decent working knowledge of guns, a little bit. Not like I know all that stuff, but I know enough for sure never to play with one ever again. Ever again.
Hey, yo, when you shot yourself in the side, did you squeeze or it just went off?
I squoze, bro. I actually squoze.
Wow.
I squoze. It allowed me to squeeze when it was to my side. The Most High definitely allowed me to squeeze when it was to my side. It didn't allow. I was not allowed to squeeze the first 2 times, but to my side, it allowed me to squeeze because I guess I was in a predicament to learn the lesson. It's like, well, all right, right here, I bet I'm gonna let you go ahead and do it. I'm gonna teach you something. Boom. But on that note, I'm about to dip out on y'all. I'll be back in a few. I appreciate if I could be moderated when I come back. Y'all wilding on me, but I got to do something real quick.
Oh, my bad. My apologies, brother.
No, you good, L.
But yeah,
I'll be back.
I'm gonna go ahead.
All right, cool. When I come back, I'll be there. All right.
And now since we didn't hit something so heavy and hard, all praises to the Most High for my brother's survival. Brent,
thank you.
Come on in. I know you got a little something. Let's get a little feminine energy in, because we got a lot of masculine here. So let's see what you got going on the other side of the track. I'm not picking on you.
No, you're fine. You know, I am a little low key. Yeah, I got a real quick one, I guess, pertaining to the subject. This was around when COVID, it wasn't in its peak yet. It kind of just happened. I was still teaching. Everybody within the school, because I teach high school EI classroom, 9th to 12th grade, all in my classroom. Anybody that had emotional impairments. So when COVID was out, and again, this was not the peak. This was kind of before the quarantine shutdown, but getting close to it. People had knew about it. Everybody was worked up. Everybody was leaving, mainly teachers of the opposite race from the majority of us, talking about they can't work in these conditions. They're going to get sick. They're going to die. Everybody was leaving. I had to leave out eventually on sick leave because I struggle with an autoimmune disorder. They were telling me that I was high risk, among other things, with me having headaches, that it probably wouldn't be a good environment for me to be in anyway. Went on sick leave. Fast forward to this year, I have a Nigerian specialist, and she used to tell me, you know, Brittany, you're very stubborn. I don't know why you won't get this shot. You're high risk. You're going to be the first one to get it. And I said, well, I've lasted this long. I know, but Brittany, soon they will be mandated. You got to get it. And I don't know if any of you know about Nigerians that are spiritualists, but this was a spiritualist Nigerian. She had attended a lot of mega churches back in Nigeria. So they are like die hard spiritualist. So she was quoting me all of these verses, talking about Matthew 24, nation's gonna rise against nation. No, this is pestilence. This is the first of the sorrows. She was quoting me 2 Chronicles 7 and talking about locusts are gonna come, pestilence gonna come. This is the judgment. Basically trying to do anything she can, and she really wasn't supposed to. That was not her job to push it like how she was. But she felt like I would be high risk, and something just told me, like, I'm gonna take my chances. Now, I know this is controversial. It's not against anyone who has took it or who's gonna take it. I'm impartial. But as for me, something just told me I'm gonna be good. I've been good this far. So she kept trying to fearmonger me and say, with your condition and the autoimmune, you can't really go out anywhere. I don't know how you've lasted this long. We got shots available. We can give you the Moderna today. Then you come back in a few weeks. You take the second shot. You'll be good. I'm telling you, you need to get it. I've gotten it. It doesn't mean that I don't love God. And I was just wondering, like, well, dang, God, like what should I do? But something just told me, like, you're going to be fine. I continued to follow up with her, still going out to the stores, still, wearing the mask and the gloves, and I haven't got it. Now, I know this may be jumping the gun. It's not to say that I may not get it, but I feel in my heart of hearts, especially somebody being quote-unquote high risk, as they said, people with that have lower immune systems. I was supposed to be out of here a long time ago, according to the Nigerian specialist and all her little counterparts. But I had trust in God, so that's my little story, and I still have trust,
And all praise to the Most High, and keep your faith up, and let His will be done. All praises. Anybody else want to go? I know I got one too. I'm trying to let it. I've been speaking a while. Anybody else? All right. Can y'all? Am I picking up?
Yeah. Yep, it's clear.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Well, let me. All right. Well, I got. My most recent one I got right here. Okay. Everybody on here pretty much know of me and what I went through like 2 years ago. But this was actually, or was it last year? Whichever, when the coronavirus, when they shut down everything for the first time. I think it was last year when they shut down everything. But this is going to be short. When I left the house, right, when the situation happened, I had to leave the house. They had pretty much everything getting ready to shut down anyway. But y'all, I left the house like on a Sunday night. No lie. So I don't know where I'm going to go. You know what I'm saying? It was like around March. Usually a lot of places in Mississippi, the high rental thing, well, especially like around my area, they're more highly available at the beginning of the year. They try to keep their leases around the first of the year. So I'm there in March, right? I'm in a motel room, have a limited amount of money, and etc. This is a Sunday night. I still got to go to work. So I call out of work, not knowing if they was going to trip or not. So Monday, so I'm living in a motel room Sunday night. I'm living in a motel room. Monday, I get up. My cousin told me of a place that I could go. So I went to the place. They said they didn't have no occupancy. So I had to go back. I went around Tupelo looking. Couldn't find nothing. When I say nothing, I mean nothing. So y'all, I went back to the room. No lie. I hit my knees and I prayed. And I told the Lord, like, Lord, I know I've been here before. You saw me out the first time. You'll see me out the second one. Now, I can't say the whole prayer because it was back then, because, you know, so I can't remember that. But it was around the lines of I have faith that you're going to see me out this situation. And a lot of y'all know Timmy, so she can actually vouch for this because she was around during that time when I was actually going through all of this. So me and her actually prayed over the phone also. So all of this is verifiable. So that evening, now don't forget now, everything happened Sunday night. This is Monday. That evening of Monday, I go look at another newspaper, and it had a place in it in South Pillow. The place kind of expensive, but y'all know I'm I don't want to say desperate, but I'm desperate. So anyway, I fill out the application for the place. I give the application, you know, I turn it in. The woman runs my little credit right there and there. So she said, Mr. Chandler, I see here you have a default lease. And then I explained her the situation, what happened when I was in Memphis, on how I incurred that default lease. And she was like, okay, well, I'm telling you, whoever the manager is over there, she said, they usually don't work with people that got default leases. So I can't promise you nothing at all. I can't promise you nothing. He said, I'm going to try to talk it over, but it usually don't go according to plan. So I said, you know, okay. Then I left. I get back to the room, and then I called Timmy, and I said, I have a feeling the Lord is going to let me get this spot. I said, he's going to, all of the looking and searching I've been through, it's over with. Y'all can even ask her, if y'all ever talked to her. I said, I'm done searching. I'm not going to search anymore. I'm not going to fill out any more applications. This is going to be what it is right here. So I said, I'm just going to sit and wait on the approved phone call. Total faith. Total faith. Like I said, it's all verifiable. So, around, you know, this is like doing the afternoon. They close at 5. About 4:50, she called me and say, Mr. Chandler, we really don't normally do this, but we're going to allow you to move in. All praises to the Most High. I was without a place to stay less than 24 hours. And before it started, I did not know where I was going to go. And Christ had it taken care for me less than 24 hours. And not only that, I had the right amount of money to get everything turned on and etc. So that's my story. Now, that's just one of the many homeless stories I done got, because I done been in this situation a couple of times that I can write a book about. But he came through, and that's how I know he's real, and he's listening, and he just wants you to have faith and trust, and he will see you through. So that's one of my ones that I went through, and that was last year. Now, I got more, but I'm not going to go through that and take everybody through the long stories, but that was it. And I was able to demonstrate faith right then and there and stand on it. I stood on it. And me standing on it, it came to fruition. I'm done. Anybody else want to go? I'm sorry if I bored everybody.
All praise, bro. I see David down there. Dave, you got a testimony you want to share?
I want to hear you talk. I know nobody's face. He got. I know he been through something. I was saying I want to hear from Tony. I can tell you've been through something. You done been through something. I know I can tell.
Yeah, I want to hear from Tony and Mr. Bell.